What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Bitcoin and Markets. My name is Ansel Lindner. Happy Monday out there. Hope you guys got a good start to your week. On Mondays is my newsletter day. I put out the most comprehensive newsletter in Bitcoin. Then we come on here and I go through it, open to your questions and comments, and then we wrap it up for the start of the week. All right, let's share the screen and get right into it. Bitcoinandmarkets.com is where you go. Sign up for a free email list, and you can also support the content there. Oh, by the way, I'm live streaming on YouTube, Rumble, Twitter, and Telegram. If you are watching on Twitter or X, whatever, jump over to the YouTube and Rumble, like, comment, subscribe over there. Appreciate that. It helps grow the show and helps other people find it. Already 36 people watching, so that's awesome. All right. Yes, I have recently renamed my newsletter. It was the Bitcoin Fundamentals Report for many years, and we're going to try something new. We're going to try Bitcoin Insider. So we'll see if that catches on with people. But here we go, Bitcoin Insider 322. And let's get into it here. Weekly trend. We're holding support. I did talk last week about, and the last prior weeks, I guess, as we were trying to hold 90, I said there is a possibility that we get a wick below 90, but what we were looking for is like a sustained move. So a couple closes, or at least a significant close below 90 to show that we have broken 90. We haven't gotten that. We did get the wick today down to 89,100, I believe, but we are back up all the way to 93 already. So we are holding that support at 90,000. Media sentiment is positive this week, down from very positive. And let me just double check that I am not muted on Telegram. All right. So yeah, down from very positive, just kind of a lackluster news cycle this week. Of course, right as I hit publish on this, we got the news about Trump and what to expect on day one. He's going to do some executive orders for Bitcoin. So we'll see what happens there. Network traffic is very low. We'll take a look at a mempool and the fees and all of that stuff down below. Mining industry is steady. Price at the time of writing, 92.9. Like I said, it is up already to 93.9, I believe, 93.9. So week to week or issue to issue, it was down $9,000 or almost 9%. Market cap, that puts us under the $2 trillion mark. Satoshis per dollar, 1077, and one finny, that's 1/10,000th of a Bitcoin, my preferred denomination, right in the middle of the decimal place, is $9.28. Mining sector, difficulty adjustment happened yesterday afternoon. It was 0.6% in the positive direction. So that makes our 8th consecutive positive difficulty adjustment, even though they have been pretty small, all of them. The next estimated adjustment, for what it's worth this far out, is -2%. But of course, that has a wide range of possibilities. Mempool is down about 10 megabytes week over week, down to 51 megabytes. And for people that are new, the mempool are transactions waiting to be confirmed into a block or ordered into a block. And you can change how many fees you pay per size of the transaction in bytes. So you can see this next section, fees for the next block, sats per virtual byte. That's what that stands for. And it's 39 cents for average size transaction, according to mempool.space, or that comes out to 3 sats per virtual byte. Okay, and a low priority fee, just if you want to wait a unspecified future time, an hour or two to get it confirmed, you're really not it's not a point of sale transaction. You're not really urgent on your transactions. Then you can wait a little bit, but you can't save any money. I mean, 39 cents is very, very cheap, and that's 39 cents for any value of your transaction. So anything from a $10 transaction, which 39 cents would be completely within the realm of affordability for that, all the way up to $1 billion transaction is still going to pay 39 cents. And it's just as secure. So there you go. Lightning Network. Lightning Network capacity did increase 1% week over week, up 55 Bitcoins. So that's good to see. Finally, a positive direction. It's been a couple months since we had a positive week over week change, but channels continue to decline. Over 130 channels on net closed this week, 45 to 11. All right, let's move on to headlines. If you guys are new to my stuff, I do all these different sections. Let's go back up to the top real quick. So, quick navigation. I do headlines, macro, price analysis, mining, layer two, and previous posts. So I don't really talk about that. This week I took out layer two because there hasn't been much activity at all for the last couple months. So I need to take that off of this menu here. The layer two is gone, but I do cover all of these different sections of Bitcoin. So, all right. Headlines for Bitcoin. Rumors of US sale of 69,000 Bitcoins. These claims, rumors remain unsubstantiated. While it is true that a court gave the go ahead to sell these coins and that some Bitcoin was sent to Coinbase prior, I don't know if that Bitcoin was sent at the exact number, like 69,000, and when in relation to that court filing or that court decision was that Bitcoin sent. But Bitcoin has been sent recently from the government to Coinbase. Yet there is no evidence that they are selling or intend to sell anytime soon. So people are watching those addresses like a hawk, and there has been no movement at all. So if they are selling, we don't have any evidence of that. So far, the threat and the always present doomerism is enough to cause this micro sell-off. The typical behavior of the US government when selling Bitcoin is to hold an auction. They are unlikely to market sell 69,000 coins, which would dramatically harm Bitcoiners and set the government up for lawsuits. This is my opinion. I guess they could sell it OTC through Coinbase Prime, which is where they're holding these coins. That's possible. They don't have to go onto the exchange and dump them like in a market order, just dumping all these coins. They would find buyers to buy these over the counter. But we have no evidence of that, right? And it could be argued in court that this was irresponsible behavior by the government and it manipulated markets. And they're not allowed to do that. They would telegraph this far ahead of time. And with Trump coming in, it is unlikely to happen at this point. So if they were going to have an auction, they have those announced 6 months prior, long time prior. They're not going to just come in and 1 week before Trump or 1 day before Trump gets inaugurated and dump all these coins. That's not how this works. So anyway, this is unsubstantiated rumors, and I don't buy it at this point. We'll have to see. Some people in the industry that are relatively well known and relatively well respected are convinced that they are selling. The main one I've seen is David Bailey going out there talking about that they're selling all these coins. But he's a hyper bull one day and a hyper bear the next day. And so anyways, all of this is unsubstantiated at this point. Next headline: careful of people asking for Bitcoin donations. So I want to bring this up. Okay. I thought I had a typo there. I don't want to bring up specific names here. I did talk about it on a live stream last week. I don't know if it was on the Telegram exclusive. Friday, I just did Telegram exclusive live stream. So if you guys are watching on X or YouTube and Rumble, make sure you also subscribe to Telegram. That's the community. I didn't have time to prepare a live stream for YouTube and Rumble, so I went ahead and just did a Telegram only. And I think I'll do those more often now, just maybe spur of the moment type thing. So make sure you're over there on the channel, on the Telegram channel. So, okay. So I did talk about this last week. I just want to caution people about this type of idea of scamming people for Bitcoins. Natural disasters are a perfect opportunity for people to pull on your heartstrings and ask for donations. Now, I'm not saying don't do this. Don't be charitable with your Bitcoin. Okay. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that you don't want to get fooled by people that are pretending to be affected and they're running a scam. Okay. Beware of rapidly rising influencers who turn around and ask for Bitcoin donations because of disaster in their lives. These are some reasons here. One, there are well-established organizations you can donate to. You don't have to donate to that person. You can donate to Red Cross or specific organizations for that disaster. You can find that. Bitcoin can be traced. So if you donate from a larger wallet, say you want to donate $100 from a wallet with $5,000 in Bitcoin, now you've doxed that larger stash as well. So be careful with your coin management and how you are spending your coins. Number 3, donate government currency. Donating government currency comes with several benefits, like not giving up your fixed supply asset and certain fraud protections that can allow you to reverse the transaction if it turns out to be a scam. So if you do donate to somebody and it turns out they were a scammer, you can try to reverse those donations. Also, yes, you can always spend and replace. That's what a lot of people talk about in Bitcoin is spend and replace. Okay. But in the United States, at least, and most places, I don't know any place that wouldn't have to think about this. You have to consider taxation, okay, and you have to consider um, overall management and KYC of your coins, privacy in general. Um, so it's not a one-to-one trade. If you're selling Bitcoin to donate or you're donating Bitcoin, you're going to have to keep those records at the market price. Okay. If you donate $100 in Bitcoin, you have to log that and somehow claim that, okay, that you did that. And you don't have to worry about that if you're doing it with fiat currency. I mean, you kind of also do, but you're not having to pay the capital gains tax on it. So there are benefits to just donating government currency. Think about that in the future. All right. Next headline. Bascent owns up to $500,000 of IBIT. A document release on Saturday by the U.S. Office of Government Ethics revealed Bascent's ownership of a stake in the BTC ETF. It showed the prospective government official held between $250,000 and $500,000 worth of BlackRock's iShares Bitcoin Trust. Okay. I also saw that Hedgeseth, whatever the guy for DOD director, he also claimed to, or on his documents, he had up to 50,000 worth of Bitcoin. So all of these players going in, and we know JD Vance does. He probably has 500,000 now too, because he had a significant amount before all of this pumped over the last, 6 months. So we all know that a bunch of the Trump administration owns a lot of Bitcoin. And he's saying that on day one, there's going to be an announcement for about Bitcoin. So all of this stuff is very, very positive for Bitcoin. And you can check out this story at Crypto Potato. Next headline for Bitcoin. Tether relocates to El Salvador. This is a symbolic move. One of the largest companies in the Bitcoin space. They are moving where they are treated best. This could go a long way to insulating them from outside attacks. We'll have to wait and see the outcome. So it's just a big story here in Bitcoin. Tether, of course, $100 billion company and moving to El Salvador. One, it's a huge pickup for El Salvador. It'll bring a lot of economic activity to the country, but it's also a good move for them. They have now a sheltered place that they can hopefully avoid some of this lawfare and other things that Tether has had to endure over the years. But yeah, just a interesting headline there. All right, that's it for Bitcoin. Let me check the headlines, the comments before we get into the macro stuff. Dex Invictus back with us. John Delaney, hey, what's up? Let me check Telegram. All right. Back to it. Back to the macro headlines. So California wildfires. There are some suspicious coincidences going on with these fires. Now, I'm not saying, I guess I am saying that there is some conspiracy happening, but I'm not tied to this. Okay. It could be a coincidence, but this is just there's too many things lining up here. So they all started at the exact same time. There's a video of one of the initial fires starting with a person present. There were no fire trucks, simply protecting homes, and on and on. I saw another video of a guy. He's like, "Yeah, I just had my water hose and I was hosing down my roof and my yard. Anytime I saw a ember come in, I just hosed that off." And his house survived and everyone else evacuated. And there was nobody to just simply sit there and hose down their property. So if he can do it with a little garden hose, imagine what a few firefighters can do just going around and spraying some water on these homes, keeping them moist and that kind of stuff. It's a little bit suspicious, but here, let's watch this video real quick and we'll watch the plumes all start at the same time. Same day, within like an hour of each other at the perfect conditions. That's a little bit crazy. And here's another video. See, but you do see a person here setting something and then walking around. They're walking around. It's not very clear, but there you go. This could also go a long way to turning California towards MAGA. So I think a lot of the cultural Marxists, the woke people, they overstep too much, right? And they have overplayed this hand. I think there's going to be so much evidence in the next few weeks about this, all these coincidences with this fire, and then of course it's going to be hard for all these people to rebuild. And so I think there is a chance that this can at least start pushing California back towards Republicans. So people usually don't know that most of the state is Republican, by land area at least, and was a Republican stronghold for many decades. It is the coastal cities that keep California blue for now, but the fallout from these fires could go a long way to convincing marginal voters to vote MAGA next time. Also, if Trump comes in and he does some sort of aid package to this area, that'll go even further way to convincing the marginal voter to vote Republican next time. Okay. Next headline. Former EU Commissioner Thierry Breton, am I saying that right? Fantasizes about a possible annulment of the upcoming elections in Germany. And this is in whatever French or something, so I'm not going to play it. But he said, "We did it in Romania, and we will obviously have to do it, if necessary, in Germany." That's a direct quote, or translated quote, I guess. Yeah, so they're admitting to overturning the elections in Romania, and then they will overturn the elections in Germany. So much for democracy, right? While these people are gaslighting you about the dangers of free speech, they openly cancel elections that they lose. It is so terrible what is happening over there in Europe. Okay, next headline. China suspends government bond purchases to manage panic. And I just included this tweet. So China's central bank has shocked markets by halting government bond purchases in a bid to tackle the growing imbalance between supply and demand. This decision comes amid record low bond yields driven by speculation of aggressive policy easing to boost the sluggish economy and a rush to safe haven assets due to weak consumption, a property crisis, and deflation worries. So not very much the first one. I would say it's mostly the second one. Sorry, there's a cough going around my house. Yes, it's a rush into safe and liquid assets, weak consumption. Yes, they're trying to boost domestic consumption, but they cannot because 70% of their household wealth was tied up in property, and now they're having a property crisis, and there's deflation everywhere. So no, it's not. They're not trying to front run aggressive easing policies. The aggressive easing policies are due to the other stuff, the weak consumption, the property crisis, and the deflation worries. So a lot of times my unique brand of macro is people, they mix up a lot the cause and effect of these things. So the cause is weak consumption, property crisis, deflation worries, deglobalization. What else? Ponzi finance, bridges to nowhere, demographic crisis. Those are like the causes. The effect is aggressive easing policy. All right. That's the effect. And yeah, so there you go. The Bank of China will pause purchases starting in January of 2025, citing insufficient bond supply, and will decide when to resume based on market conditions. So why can't they just issue more bonds? Well, because the yuan is super weak as well and getting weaker and weaker. And they don't want to let that just go, from like 7.3 roughly where it is today to 8 or something like that to the US dollar. That would be very bad because that would harm their domestic consumption. It would help their exports. All right, that would help the exports, but they are trying to build domestic consumption. And now, not only do you have a property crisis, but your yuan is devaluing, impoverishing your people even more, harming domestic consumption even more. So they're in a very rough place. They can't issue more bonds, and people are rushing into government bonds because of all the problems that they're having. All right. So that's that for China. Scorching hot December jobs. In the US, December jobs data show a massive 256,000 increase. However, a net loss of 350,000 full-time jobs. This means there was a large rotation from full-time jobs to temporary jobs around the holiday season. This is typical behavior, but more exaggerated than usual. Overall, my reading of this jobs report is a strong headline number masking the more fundamental weakness. However, we can also say that this report does not symbolize imminent recession. So I talk a lot on the show here about when is recession coming. It has been, this COVID era has been very unique. So 2018 into 2019, moving into COVID, the economy is rolling over. You can see that with interest rates. You can see that with all sorts of stuff. Going into a recessionary period, and then COVID hit. All right. Then we had this massive stimulus, cut rates down to zero with the monetary policy and all this stuff. And then we rebounded after that. Okay. Now we're rolling back over again. But this is a unique period because it's only 4 years after COVID, or 5, I guess now. 5 years after COVID. We're going through a major, major global reset, deglobalization, loss of international trust, going away from a unipolar world to a multipolar world. And so we're going through a ton of these changes. So it's a very unique recession that we're entering. We also see China in major, like verging on depressionary type environment, Europe on at least recessionary environment, if not depressionary environment. And then you have the US that seems to be like this island of okay economic activity. So it's a very unique period right now. And that's why I talk about it a lot. And this is just symbolizing that we're not in imminent danger of recession. All right. It would be consistent with a recession still being several months away. And we talk about that all the time here on the show. Okay, before we get into price, let me check comments. Dex, China is in big, big trouble. They are screwed on both ends, like a Chinese finger lock, to be rated G about it. I might go short. I don't recommend investing in China. Their markets are very controlled, and I don't know, unless you have a large hedge fund and you have some super specialized people to do that, I wouldn't invest in anything around China at all, even to short it, because you never know. They could announce some bazooka times 22 and you get screwed. So just be careful on that. All right, next section is going to be the price. So last week, man, my base case last week was to inch towards the all-time high with a rising chance of a breakout. So that was perhaps my worst weekly forecast in the last year or so. It was exactly opposite of what happened. So far we've only had a wick below 90, which I did warn was a possibility. There's still time before the inauguration to rally back to an all-time high. So this candle up here to 102 was Monday, and then Tuesday, monkey hammer down, and we did break down below 90, but wicked back up. And there's still time to easily make it to back to the all-time high before inauguration, but that time is running very short. The sentiment in the market is low or bad. I didn't know how to exactly word that. We finished the most bullish year in Bitcoin history, made it through the end of year selling, and the odds of at least a strategic Bitcoin reserve conversion of current Bitcoin held by the USG is very high. Yet price is simply consolidating and threatening to break down. So this is a struggling time. I even put on Telegram this morning. I'm like, it's hard right now to stay engaged in not only the Bitcoin price, but Bitcoin in general, because this last week was very slow on the news. The price was very disappointing. And so, yeah, I can feel that in the market. Maybe it's just me, but uh, just last week we were listening to Nick Bhatia and we were getting bull goosebumps. And now it's kind of like, oh, ho hum, what's going on with Bitcoin? It changes so fast. Okay, next little part here below is the December 2023 to February 2024 pattern that I introduced 2 weeks ago. We did break with the trend last Monday with our rally above 100K. That turned around and we've broken the pattern to the downside. There is still some hope of regaining the pattern prior to inauguration. So look how nice and close this whole section was. Very, very close to scale even, all the way up to here. Then last Monday, we broke up early, and we've paid for that by breaking back down. Now, perhaps we will catch back up to this pattern, but I just wanted to include this for a week-to-week consistency. Below is the daily chart with the 20-day moving average. What struck me, sorry about the typos, was the seeming importance of this metric recently. It could be that a large market maker is using the 20-day in their trading. December 16th looks an awful lot like last Tuesday, the red circles. So here's the 20-day moving average. And you can see it's been support, 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 broke down through, then it was resistance, resistance, and then it broke down through. Now it was resistance, but we are probably above this now. Let me take a look at the live chart. Let's switch over to the live chart. We're at 94.3, so that's pretty good. Go to the daily. Pop back on 20-day moving average. What do we got here? 50. No, I want 20. Okay, so we're still below that. What a wicked candle this is. Very similar, I guess, to this candle over here. But yeah, that 20-day moving average you can see is acting as resistance right now. Here's inauguration over here on this side. So we do have some time to continue rallying higher. So that's the live chart. Back to the report. Here's a weekly chart with a 300-day moving average. So it's a weekly chart with a day moving average. And as you can see, the 365-day has been quite important over the last cycle. So going back several years, acting as support 5 times, always positively sloped, and resistance twice, always negatively sloped. Okay, so 365-day moving average in blue. When it's positively sloped, it acts as support. When it's negatively sloped, it acts as resistance. Okay, you see that. This red line is just a best curve fit from the bottom. And, we found support on this exponential curve several times. So perhaps we find support there again. But the main reason for introducing this chart today was to show that the bull market is still healthy and intact. So again, above the 365-day moving average, positively sloped. This trend line that we formed in this bull market is still super intact. Plenty of room for error here. If we do dip, there's still tons of support below the price, and we can rally easily after that. But the entire bull market is still intact. Everything is looking very healthy. All right. My base case for this week now is recovery towards the all-time high. So very similar to last week. I'm always going to be big picture bullish in a bull market. However, if Bitcoin breaks and closes below 90, so this is the same disclaimer that I put on for the last several months, or last, I would say, month. However, if Bitcoin breaks below 90 and closes below 90 in a significant way, we will be looking at least a month more of consolidation. The threat of significant sell-off is still low. So now think, if Trump is going to have a big executive order, what's the likelihood that we close and hold down below 90 and then continue to consolidate for another month? I don't think it's very likely. So that being the case, it could be up from here. Again, recovery towards the all-time high is this week's call. Okay, mining sector is next. Let me check comments. 173 people watching. If you guys are watching over on X, jump on over to YouTube and Rumble. You can like, comment, subscribe. The chat is much easier to interact with over there. Appreciate everybody hanging out. Let me see if there's any other comments in Telegram. Okay, Phil G says, Price does not seem to be expecting good news upon Trump's inauguration that we are hoping for with the strategic Bitcoin reserve. I would think we'd be rallying into the inauguration. Yes, that was my expectation as well. We still have the time to rally into the inauguration. There is a bit of exhaustion. It's not exhaustion. It's like adrenaline dump in the market. Like, let's go back to the chart here. So, I mean, this is just exciting, right? This is just very exciting. Going from 68 all the way up to 108 in a matter of 4 weeks, 5 weeks. That's very exciting. A lot of people are thinking we're going to continue to break out. I was one of them. It's just very exciting. And then it doesn't happen, and you have an adrenaline dump. So maybe this was the rally. If I get my arrow out here, maybe this was the rally that was in anticipation of the inauguration. And then this is just a little bit of a adrenaline dump before we really take off. That's possible. Okay. Let's take a closer look at some of these other metrics. So the weekly, I didn't show this on the report. It's not that pretty. So the weekly MACD is coming down. I mean, it's not crossed yet, but it's curving down, and that is not a good sign for price on the weekly. If you look at this, the history of the weekly here, if we zoom over to these parts, let's get this off the screen. So this is the era that we're talking about. I mean, every time we have a major downward move in the RSI or the MACD, it's a top. I guess you could say these kind of crossed over like 2017. That is true. But they did so at the beginning of a significant consolidation, not at the end. So this would be crossing over in July, and we didn't recross until October. This one crossed below, was kind of weaving around in January, really broke out in May. So these crosses would happen at a significant consolidation, and I don't think we're on board for that. So this to me, kind of throws a little bit of bearishness into any sort of bullish forecast here. Okay, but anyway, let's get back to the report. You guys can put your comments down below. Headlines for mining sector. Russia's Bitcoin mining demand triples amid regulatory shifts. And this was from Crypto Slate. Quoting from the article, Russia has seen a sharp rise in Bitcoin mining activity as citizens and businesses turn to crypto mining, Bitcoin mining. And he's not talking about any other mining except for Bitcoin. Bitcoin mining for additional income streams, local media outlet Prime reported. According to the report, the demand for industrial Bitcoin mining equipment in Russia has tripled compared to the same quarter in 2023. So that must be in fourth quarter to fourth quarter, I'm guessing. Last year, the Russian government legalized crypto mining under specific guidelines. Moreover, the tax reforms have further shaped the industry. Russia's updated tax code exempts Bitcoin transactions from value-added tax, but imposes a 15% tax on mined assets. So we talked about that back when that was passed. It is regulatory clarity for Russia. Since then, though, they have come down and banned Bitcoin mining in several of their states, I guess provinces or administrative districts, oblasts. I don't know exactly what to call them, but that is due to like energy scarcity in those areas. But of course, there's other parts of Russia that have energy abundance, and so they are really gobbling up Bitcoin mining equipment, and they are going to be, these countries need to start thinking of this as a strategic asset. Bitcoin mining is a strategic asset. So anyway, that's what's going on over there in Russia. Next headline for mining: Canaan launches a dual-purpose Bitcoin mining device that heats homes. Another one from Crypto Potato. Quoting from the article, according to the official press release, the Avalon Mini 3 combines high-performance Bitcoin mining with home heating, boasting a hash rate of 37.5 terahashes per second and a user-friendly app-controlled interface. Excuse me, guys. Transforming Bitcoin mining rigs into household devices is not a new concept. So why put that? Good Lord, guys. Sorry. Like I said, there's a cough going around my house. Why do cryptocurrency? These are Bitcoin miners, Bitcoin mining rigs. So transforming Bitcoin mining rigs into household devices is not a new concept. Back in 2017, this guy also operated South Florida distillers in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, creating a heating system that used ASIC miners to mine Bitcoin while accelerating the rum distillation process. So one reason why they don't use Bitcoin is because they want to shoehorn in their scams on everything. It's Bitcoin, not crypto, right, guys? In 2018, the French startup something introduced the QC1, a heater designed specifically for Bitcoin mining. More recently, companies like Heatbit and Decentral have entered the market with products that combine heating capabilities with Bitcoin mining. I included the story as an educational opportunity, guys. Bitcoin mining can only be used for secondary applications for limited timeframes due to the nature of competitive markets. So a lot of people have been talking about this for a long time. Even in this article, they say it's nothing new. All right. People have been talking about this for a very long time. There are a few places that have implemented this. I don't know. They never go back and say we've been heating our greenhouse for 5 years with Bitcoin mining. But at certain periods, for certain short, brief periods of time, there will be profit in a secondary application. However, that's very limited, and that's due to the competitive nature of the market. Marginal cost will approach marginal revenue with time. That's a guarantee. Marginal price marginal cost will approach marginal revenue. And in this case, marginal revenue is the value of the Bitcoin mined plus the savings from the secondary use. Marginal cost is the mining equipment and electricity and other overhead, other, ducting that you need to direct the heat where you need it and all this stuff. But okay, this is an explanation. Since Bitcoin mining is competitive, difficulty consistently goes up. If there was significant value added from heat capture, miners would adopt the process. If that was a competitive advantage for you, or that was a significant value add for you, it would be the value add for everybody, and then more people would do it. Okay. And since it's competitive, the money saved from that secondary use, so the money you save on heating, just has to be re-rolled back into being competitive and raising your hash rate. Because if you don't do that, you're going to get the hash rate on the network is going to outpace you, and your value of your mining is going to go down and down and down and down. And that means your marginal cost is going to go up and up and up and up and up to get the same amount of Bitcoin. So in total, all secondary uses of Bitcoin mining, including heat, will only be valuable for a limited time frame. So if you are getting into this practice and it's because Bitcoin price has really skyrocketed and you're like, hey, look, I can mine this much Bitcoin a week with this rig, I'm profitable. Okay. But what happens when the hash rate catches up? Then you have to replace your rig. Then you have to add more hash rate, having more electricity cost. And inevitably, your marginal cost will rise in proportion to your marginal revenue. Long term, globally, as a overarching statement, secondary uses for Bitcoin mining are not applicable. They do not work. Okay, that was the educational opportunity. Hash rate and difficulty. The Bitcoin difficulty adjusted yesterday by 0.6%, a small but positive adjustment, making 8 positive adjustments in a row since October. Hash rate has just jumped to a new all-time high. So you can see the lighter zigzag one is the short-term hash rate, maybe daily hash rate, daily average, and that is, you can see it's skyrocketing right now. The darker line is a moving average, probably 7-day moving average of the hash rate. And then we have difficulty in the pink, and you see all of these are positive. Okay, mempool. The mempool continues to drop down to 51 megabytes this week. This signifies a drop in transactional demand relative to holding. The recent flat price action has flushed out many weak hands, and we are left with the strong holders. So you can see it continues to decline. An example of these weak hands is the ranch lawyer, who recently was convinced by tweet replies to DCA. So he claimed that he was going to be buying $100 worth of Bitcoin every day for a year. That was back on like Christmas. That lasted about 2 weeks, and he sold at a loss. So you can see he started buying right here, and he was going to buy every day. And then right here, he's tweeted out, I'm out. I'm back in when Bitcoin hits 40,000, I think he said. He's waiting for 40,000 again. So those are the weak hands that have sold. Like I said, the weak hands have been flushed out, and now we have strong holders. So there's transactional demand relative to holding is going down, and hence mempool is shrinking. All right. Stripping out the cheapest transactions, we see more clearly the total inactivity in the mempool. You can see it's just on the floor and also eating away at those cheapest transactions. All right, that's it for the new Bitcoin Insider title for this newsletter. In case you missed it, didn't get out any new stuff last week for the blog or for the premium content or for Forbes. I really, last week was a very slow week for content production. Still getting back in the swing of it in the new year, but those will be coming out very shortly. All right, going back up to the top. Let me check out comments. Then we'll wrap it up for Monday. Raphael, what's going on? Bitcoin might go in consolidation for 3 to 6 months, then rally higher to the final phase of the bull market. Looks good. Yeah, that's possible. That's possible. I mean, if we break below 90, I can see at least a month or two of more consolidation. I was hoping that we'd get up to 150 before we had a 3 to 6 month consolidation. There's just been so much buying. There was a lot of selling. I remember going back to, I don't know, end of third quarter, maybe October, November of last year. I was talking about the resistance that we would have at 100K, that a lot of OGs, a lot of Bitcoin was going to be sold at that mark just to, take profit. These guys, maybe some guys have been holding for 10 years, riding it from $200 up to 100K, and they're going to sell a couple. So there was a lot of selling demand at 100K. Is that over? I don't know. We'll see. We'll see when we get back up there. What's the live price right now? Live price 94.4. So we're trickling up. We'll see if we get there. So that was Raphael. Eric Jones. Any thoughts on Szabo joining Jan3, Samsung Mouse Company? I did see that headline. I really enjoy Nick Szabo. I really like his contribution to economic thought, and with what is it? Altruism. What's the name of his thing? Where you have kinship. You are altruistic. And that is the basic form of money. So within your kin group, you will share resources, and you expect them to share resources with you. And like they even have, this is not just a human thing, that there's actually economic activity within other species, and it is in kinship, in the kin group. Okay. And humans are the only species to get out of that, right? To use money to get out of kinship economics. So Nick Szabo had that as one of his contributions, as well as hard to produce but trivial to verify. So one reason why cryptography is good for money is it's hard to crack, right? To brute force, to fake. It's hard to fake or counterfeit, but it's trivial to verify. So anyway, that was one of the things that he added to economics, in my opinion. So yeah, very, very awesome. Possible one of the possible Satoshis out there. I don't really agree that he is Satoshi, but some people believe that. And joining Jan3, yeah, it's good. I mean, he's kind of an OG godfather of the space. So even joining Jan3 in a consulting level interaction or involvement, that's good for Jan3. I think it's going to be good headlines. Dex Invictus says, feel better. Thanks, man. It's just a little cough. My boy had it for a couple weeks, then no fever or anything, just a phlegmy cough. And then I have it, and me and my wife have stayed away from it, but now I'm starting to get the little tickle in my throat. So I'm probably coming down with something as well. Raphael, Bitcoin Insider should stick, just like the Finney denomination has. Oh man. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. I kind of like it. But feedback is always welcome, guys. All right, let's see. 201 people watching. Thank you guys for joining me. Happy Monday out there. Hope you had a good start to your week. This is the Bitcoin fundamental insider. All right. Been doing this for 322 weeks, trying to go out there and reach people with my unique Bitcoin and macro content. Check out bitcoinandmarkets.com to join the free email newsletter for this. And also you can support my work. This podcast is completely listener and viewer supported. So I appreciate everybody that does support. I've never sold a scam. One time I took a tiny bit of money to read ads for Paxful, if you remember that exchange. And that was just for like a 1 month period, and that was it. So that's the only other advertising revenue I've ever taken on the show. It's always been listener supported, and I never sold a scam like a direct lead saying like buy BitConnect or buy Solana or whatever the case is. So purely Bitcoin only on this show, and I try to have honest content that you guys can trust. So you don't know if certain influencers are going to be selling you a scam, like Breedlove selling you BitClout or um, Pomp selling you all of these other shit coins and BlockFi and stuff like that. I don't sell you that stuff. I don't pump up these other things. That's what you get here on Bitcoin Markets. Just honest, hardcore Bitcoin content from an economist, and that's it. So thank you guys for joining me. Check out bitcoinandmarkets.com, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.